From the Joy News Center. This is News at 8.
Welcome to the Primetime Bulletin here on the Joy News channel on Multi-TV. Coming up, Police Administration outdoors new unit to control rioting and public disorder and affirmed its readiness to deal with any disturbances in the aftermath of the Supreme Court ruling on the election petition. Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit awaits report on the mental state of some parents who kept their 3 children at home for years until their rescue last Friday. Minority NPP MPs in Parliament sharply criticized government's handling of the energy sector and cautioned the sector faces more serious crisis unless something drastic is done about the situation. Ghana Gas Company announces completion of a Tuabo to Abuadi segment of gas pipeline project to utilize the resource from the Jubilee field. Cabinet has meanwhile approved a draft agreement for fresh prospecting of crude oil in the Cape 3 Points area offshore Ghana. We have sports, showbiz and international news all coming up in the next 60 minutes.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
The Ghana Police Service has affirmed its readiness to combat all acts of violence as and when they occur, especially in the aftermath of the Supreme Court verdict. The service in that regard has set up the formed police unit, a special unit trained to control riots and manage mass disorder.
The outdooring of the formed police unit, FPU, of the Ghana Police Service started off with a procession through town. From the Tesano Police Depot in Accra, the unit with its gear and fully equipped vehicles went through to some parts of Accra before heading for their headquarters. Unusual as the exercise was to Ghanaians witnessing it, they all paused to watch and also take pictures. The formed police unit, which replaces the armored car squadron of the police service, has 4 sub-units with 140 personnel each trained to handle mob actions. The Alpha, Bravo, Charlie and Delta form a complete team with support staff in administration, medicine, intelligence, maintenance, catering among others. For the Ghana Police Service, the unit is timely as the country awaits the verdict of the Supreme Court.
We as policemen know that no matter how the pendulum swings, there may be some small pockets of people trying to bring about some public order management issues. We are preparing to them as we also fit ourselves into the worldwide policing system. To those miscreants over there, the police is going to meet them with equal force and will ensure that public order is maintained. Our mandate foremost is to protect life and property.
The FPU is to be deployed to support the United Nations Department of Peacekeeping and will therefore have its members undergo constant retraining.
The administration has plans far advanced for the transformation of the Paulugu Recruit Training School into a specialized public safety training school. A number of more training programs, both locally and internationally, are being arranged for you to standardize your practices, procedures, and techniques.
The FPU will also serve as a backup for other operational units within the Ghana Police Service.
So behind me is the exact duty of the formed police unit, trying to stop an angry mob, trying to control agitated crowd. So this is the duty of the newly formed police unit. From the Integrity Square of the Ghana Police Service, Abigail Adumakwenchi reporting for Joy News.
Now, the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit is awaiting a report on the mental state of parents of some 3 children who limited their contact with the outside world for the most part of their lives. The oldest child, an 8-year-old boy with his 2 other siblings aged 6 and 2, mostly under the care of their stay-at-home dad, say they are hardly let out until they were rescued last Friday by officers of DOPSU from the Medina District Police Command. While the children are being kept away at a home, DOPSU believes it will be crucial to assess the mental state of the parents so they know how to proceed with the case. Joy News' Beatrice Edu, who has been following the story, visited the home where the children were living with their parents and describes their insanitary conditions there. She spoke to the firstborn, who said they were made to understand that everyone else, apart from their parents and siblings, were evil.
Sometimes Dada make me upset.
Who upsets you?
Dada.
How?
Certain things like the dinosaur, you say he does not like it, is you don't take test on it and I shouldn't learn about it.
Sometimes the years come to Daddy say dinosaurs are...
What's your name?
Isaac Ahmad. I'm 6 years.
What's your name?
Oh,
How old are you?
She's 2, but she's not...
2.
Are you allowed to go out of the house?
No, we don't let go outside. I don't have friends anyway, and I don't want to.
Why don't you want to?
Because the friends, they are dangerous too.
Really? Who told you that?
Dada.
How are they dangerous?
Most of them, I'm telling you, Dada does not want me to tell anyone, and I should keep it to myself.
Have you ever been to school?
No, we haven't stepped our foot in school.
So how did you learn how to speak English like you're doing?
Dada taught us.
Do you know how to write?
Stylish writing. How you normally write your things like R and I, you write it like this, then you join the R to the I and then you make F's and those things. That's what I call stylish.
But do you know how to write a complete sentence?
But I know only the one standing alone.
Like ABCD, that's all you know?
Yeah. I cannot read stylish writing.
Have you ever been to church?
Some time ago, but now we all stop. Not sending us to school is not good. And
what usually does Daddy tell you?
I've been telling that friends are bad and are not good.
Did you ever ask Daddy to send you to school?
Well, I feel silly asking that because Dada will spank me if I ask him that, or it will irritate him, and he will spank and tell Mama, and everything will change differently.
Now, in an interview with their mother, Jane Mensah justified their decision to keep them at home.
What do you believe in? What do you believe in?
I believe in God, the creator of the universe.
Why do you live in such an environment?
Because we are alone here, I have to go to work. I leave the kids with their father, and he takes care of the rest. I come home late, so on weekends we have time to do our cleaning.
You are virtually living with the animals here?
Yes.
Why? I mean, I could see that they were...
When they are newly hatched, we keep them here because of the cold. And after some time, we put them out. The sheep was born 1.5 months ago, but very soon we will put them out.
But every corner of this house is dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And I'm sure you know, excuse my word, the place stinks.
Mm-hmm. Because of the animals. And also, we don't have enough water. What we have stored, we use it small so that it can last for some time. When we wash the dishes, we store the water to flush the toilet. When we take our bath, we store the water to flush.
Do you believe in anything that tells you that your environment must be this way?
No.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a secretary.
Where?
Software Ventures.
And do you have your colleagues visiting you?
No.
What time do you leave for work and what time do you come back?
Sometimes, let's say from 5:30 up to 6, I'm off. From 7:30 to 9, I'm at home.
Right, so these kids were probably being kept in very deplorable conditions and deprived of schooling. But beyond these issues, we're asking you on social media this evening that even as we await the report from the police on the mental state of the parents, there are those who also believe that they may have adopted some practice they felt was in the best interest of their children. Do you share or agree at all in their positioning? Just post a comment on our Facebook wall. But elsewhere, in other news, some NDC youth from Kenya's Zongo in the Sutifi North District of the Brunhafo region have protested against the district chief executive, Hepatitis. The party youth say the demonstration is aimed at ensuring the president does not renominate him for another term. The youth, who succeeded in retrieving a party vehicle in the custody of the DCE, urged the president to nominate a different candidate for the position.
The demonstrators, led by the Azongo branch chairman of the NDC, Rahman Yaya, accused Hepatitis of creating serious divisions within the party in the Sutifi constituency, citing his poor human relations with party members. According to him, his failure to win the constituency's parliamentary seats for the party on 4 different occasions makes it all too evident that he is not liked in the area.
So far as a party in the Akuma Sono there, Yanshama, Erekadan Kwama Megu party no, Obia wa Ukrom Kratuaba, Unya. What standard 3 times in Wanya? After so party man won't show me executives are come back mama party na tumia kosono. Won't show me only executives in Yako, only chama and can, only secretary and can. Bibi as a chama ya. Now what now the amount chama penal. Now the amount 742 amount. Sanuntina see and penal.
Some of the demonstrators who spoke to Joy News vowed to continue to highlight reasons they believe the incumbent DCE will have to go.
Amanche move be about party no. Kenya say Kenya number 1, Kenya number 2, and Dr. So Jedu Hidem. One executives at this in you. One of us about 2 and on Gaza executives. 1 month to Mapa party in Basa. And you didn't send back Bibono.
Chairman of the NDC in the constituency, Charles Adai, who handed over keys to the party vehicle retrieved from the DC, implored the party youth to remain calm, even though he largely agreed with them.
Said this in one factory, I'm a party, gentlemen in your Jumabium. Yadicadia report to Condia. Yes, there's a Munyabotre. So be free, so free, so our buying chain. Gentlemen fat and talk, gentlemen for young one day and yet. And yes, Ramos said, Women in I join back, I come back.
Hepatitis has meanwhile rubbished the allegations leveled against him and accused some unnamed persons also interested in the position of being behind the demonstrations. He says he remains unshaken by the agitations because President John Mahama has a sole prerogative in deciding who he wants for the position.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Akwesi Opong Ofosu, has released a list of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives who have been asked to vacate their post. According to a statement signed by the sector minister, the affected MMDCEs are those who have not been renominated. Such persons are to hand over to the respective regional ministers with immediate effect. They are, in the Ashanti region, Anthony Nyame Echuma Kwawoma, Theresa Domaku Teria Inchuman Punya, Daniel Ochiamang Apau, Mampong Municipal, Robert Bennett Foko, Amansia Central, Martha Brakna, Ejura Sechidumase, and Noah Asante Menu, Bekwai Municipal. For the Brunhafo region, Stephen Lordopong for Brekum Municipal, J. Ata Bediaku, Jamang South, Al Hassan Seidu Harrising, Kintampo North Municipal, and Yao Osei Ej Wenchi Municipal. In the Central Region, Anthony Ejiri Akings, Cape Coast Metropolitan, and Peter Kofi Osei Ashia Upper Danger East. In the Greater Accra region, Rex Daniel Wusa Dangbe East, Numo Adinote Adesing Fashaman Municipal, Robert Kempis Ufusuware, Tema Metropolitan, and Ebenezer Ni Ama Taki Gan West. In the northern region, Alhaji Haruna Friday, Tamale Metropolitan, Abdul Wahab Umar Zabzugu, Alhaji Seidu Samsing Abudu Bole, and Isifu Salifu Be Aurebe, Central Gonja. In the Upper East region, Emmanuel Andena Kasina Nankena East Municipal, Musa Abdullahi Boku Municipal, and Clement Akugre Bongo, and Bernard Kofi Po Ziong Jirapa, Clement Bening Lambusi Kani, and Dogo Yakubu were municipal for the Upper West region. There are others in the Volta and Western regions also affected. You can visit our website myjoyonline.com for the rest of the names. We're taking a break. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go away. Minority MPs with the New Patriotic Party have sharply criticized government for its management of the energy sector, warning of even more serious consequences if nothing drastic is done about the situation. At a news conference on its assessment of the sector, the MP said the shortcomings of both government and the Volta River Authority are to blame for the electricity crisis Ghanaians are experiencing, adding that the crisis is impacting negatively on the country's economy. Etonam Say has more.
The news conference covered all the major subsectors, including electricity supply, petroleum prices, rural electrification, operations of the Ghana Gas Company, and proceeds from the country's crude oil. The various speakers, however, dwelt largely on electricity, which they say has been poorly managed by the NDC administration.
If we view the performance of the government as outlined above, when in the whole of 4.5 years of the administration, only 2 megawatts of solar power, which is of doubtful pedigree and parentage in any event, has been added to the installed capacity, then nobody needs to tell us that we are being fed Kweku announcing stories. This NDC government is pathologically incapable of telling the plain truth to its citizens. By 2014, 2015, 2016, the country would remain in pitch darkness and further rounds of planned load shedding would be announced regularly.
On the issue of gas supply, it said 3 years after the country started producing crude oil, associated gas is still being flared while the country relies on the West Africa gas pipeline for only a meager supply of gas.
As of now, of the 123 million SCFPD that the country has contracted under West African gas pipeline, only 60 million is supplied. That is, if any is available at all. The unreliability of this source of supply has clearly manifested itself in the pitch darkness the country has been plunged into over the last months. When Sonon Asogli's 20 megawatt generation was shut down due to lack of supply from the West Africa gas pipeline, among other reasons.
The group maintains the country's energy sector is riddled with corruption, inefficiency, indecision, self-interest, and misguided and inappropriate policies, adding the results are beginning to show in the economy.
We stated that this crisis is internally generated and is a result of bad policies and indecisions of this government. It has nothing to do with the Akosombo Reservoir, which has recently seen one of its highest levels of inflow in many years.
Etonamsi, Joy News.
Well, work has been completed on the 111-kilometer main onshore pipeline for the Tuabo gas processing plant. This means it should soon be possible to transport processed gas from the plant to the Abuazi thermal plant for electricity generation. Correspondent William Benjamin Peters has more.
The 20-inch diameter and 111-kilometer main onshore pipeline, which travels through 7 districts from Elembele to Shama district, is expected to transport processed gas from the gas processing plant at Ituabo to the thermal plant at Abuazi. It is expected that an estimated 500 megawatts of energy will be added to the national grid soon. following the completion of the project. The final weld of the pipeline, which took place at Etwabo, saw the two ends of the pipeline being clamped together and aligned after undergoing visual, radio and ultrasonic testing. The final pipeline is approximately 180 meters and 300 feet in length. Speaking at a brief ceremony to mark the final welding of the pipeline, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gas Company, Dr. George Sipayanki, expressed his happiness for the commitment shown towards the progress of work by Sinopec.
We are concluding all work on the onshore pipeline system, and this is the system that will take processed gas from our plant to the tower plants in Abuazi to enable the VRA to generate power for us.
Sipayanki added the project is on course despite some financial challenges encountered recently and addressed by government.
With the recent effort made by Sinopec and Ghana Gas to recover or to make up for the lost time, we still are confident that at least come end this year, mechanical completion will have been achieved. And if you are lucky, you may even begin to process gas, and first gas will also be available to the VRA plants.
Dr. Yankee, along with other members of his entourage, later toured the facility. William Benjamin Peters filed this report for Joy News.
The Ghana Railway Development Authority will soon open a new train station at Tema Community 1. This will bring to 6 the number of stations along the Accra-Tema corridor. This came to light when Parliament Select Committee on Roads and Highways paid a working visit to the Ghana Railway Development Authority in Accra. The visit was to inspect some of the projects being undertaken by the GRDA.
Briefing the committee on his project, the acting chief executive of the GRDA, Ali Dusadik, said the 5 stations along the Accra-Tema corridor are being given a facelift. As part of the renovation process, car parks are being constructed for persons who wish to park their cars and use the train service. The rail line from the Tema Harbour is also being extended to the Japan Motors area in Tema Community 1. But Alhaji Sadiq said the projects are under threat as the sites have been encroached upon, prompting the contractors to abandon the project site. The encroachment aside, the GRDA says it is cash-strapped.
As far as these projects are concerned, we've been able to pay just about 1/3 of the amount the contractor has raised. This is because of budget limitations. Looking at investment in the railways is very huge, and at times government will find it very difficult. But we can do it in stages, carving out suburban networks which are part and parcel of the total network and getting them done. 100 million, 80 million every year allocated to rail development in gradual stages. In 3, 4, 5 years' time, we will by all means get somewhere. We could even get to Kofredua in 2, 3 years' time.
Meanwhile, renovation works are ongoing in the western region to get the Sekondi Takoradi to Kujokrom railway line back in shape for the transportation of cocoa, bauxite and other minerals from the farms and mines in the region.
First of all, it forms part of the rehabilitation of the western line, and again it forms part of the rejuvenation of the suburban lines within Sekondi Takoradi metropolis. And there is another importance attached to this project, that the port of Takoradi is gradually getting congested, and we've teamed up with Ghana Port and Harbours Authority to create a container depot at the Sekondi railway station, such that apart from just suburban services, we'll transport container. Hope the contractor will understand and maybe will capture the rest of the amount in next year's budget.
The Judgment Debt Commission today began probing into the relationship between a victim of police brutality And a man who received 42,000 Ghana cedis as judgment debt on behalf of the deceased family, Stephen Danoma, was shot dead by a police patrol team in Accra on December 11, 2008, for which his family was awarded 42,000 Ghana cedis. The money was paid to one Seth Ejay Mensah, a representative of the family. But the commission is not satisfied with the processes followed up in paying this huge sum. Esther Madugu was at the sitting and came through with this report.
The commission sat to find out who the man Seth Ejay Mensah was, and the procedures followed through in paying him the money. The issue of whether indeed he is the rightful person to receive the money is also of an issue of probe. Family members of the deceased during court proceedings introduced Seth Ejay Mensah and authorized him to follow up on the case on their behalf. But the sole commissioner, Justice Yao Appel, is not exactly enthused with how it was that such a huge amount was paid to this one man on behalf of the family. The Commission is keen on getting to the bottom of every payment made by a state institution and verifying whether indeed these were rightful sums to be paid. Kojo Iwa-Piesa is the Director for External Resource Mobilization for the Finance Ministry. As the case proceeded, it was obvious that the Commissioner would not be able to continue sitting without input from former Attorney General Betty Mould Idrisu, who was in office at the time of the payment of this judgment debt. So far, the name of the particular police officer who shot Stephen Danoma dead is unknown. The question then is, how would government retrieve this 42,000 Ghana cedis if it is established that the sum was paid wrongly? Sitting continues Wednesday. Esther Madugu filed this report for Joy News.
Ghanaians have been called upon to avoid lifestyles that put them at risk of contracting hepatitis. The call was made during a free hepatitis screening and immunization program in Sunyani to mark World Hepatitis Day.
Hepatitis is an inflammation of the liver, most commonly caused by a viral infection. There are 5 types of the hepatitis virus: type A, B, C, D, and E. Types B and C lead to chronic diseases in many people, as well as the most common cause of liver cirrhosis and cancer. Hepatitis A and E are typically caused by indigestion of contaminated food or water. Common modes of transmission for these viruses include receipt of contaminated blood or blood products and medical procedures using contaminated equipment. Hepatitis B is also transmitted from mother to baby at birth and by sexual contact. Acute infection may occur with limited or no symptoms, or may include symptoms such as jaundice, dark urine, extreme fatigue, nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. Many Ghanaians who are living with the disease are unaware of their status. This is why Theobald Hepatitis B Foundation is using the World Hepatitis Day to sensitize people on the effects of the disease and the need for everyone to know his or her status. Theobald Owusu-Ansah suggested government should be working towards developing an overall regional strategy that uses a comprehensive and integrated approach. Such an approach, according to Theobald, requires a strong political commitment to prevent and control chronic viral hepatitis. Theobald Owusu-Ansah lost 4 members of his family to hepatitis, which is what motivates him to educate people on the disease.
First, we don't know that there's a disease called hepatitis. So I advise Ghanaians, hepatitis B is not a case. It's a disease. It's there with us, but we are not aware because not everybody have the symptoms. So I would advise Ghanaians, go and test if we are.
He appeals to Ghanaians to demystify hepatitis and get tested for early detection and attention. Nesta Kafuya Jumo filed this report for Joy News. Joy News Business is brought to you in association.
Cabinet has approved a draft petroleum agreement for 2 companies seeking to exploit resources in the Cape 3 Points area offshore Ghana. The 2 companies are Kola Natural Resources Ghana Limited and Media Development Limited. The agreement is, however, subject to parliamentary approval. Gifty Andopia has more on the announcement from the presidency.
The draft agreement gives the 2 companies rights to prospects for petroleum resources in an area covering 1,560 square kilometers in the Cape 3 Points area. The venture is 60% owned by Kola Natural Resources Ghana Limited, whilst Media Development Limited owns the remaining 40%. The 2 would, however, eventually cede 10% to the Ghana National Petroleum Authority as carried interest, with a clause that will oblige it to cede another 17%. Deputy Information and Media Relations Minister Murtala Mohammed describes the terms of the latest agreement as an improvement on previous ones.
The joint application by Coal Natural Resources Ghana Limited and Media Development Limited for exploration and production rights over the East Cape 3 Point block covering approximately 1,560 kilometers per square has been approved by Cabinet for onward submission to Parliament for approval. The fiscal and financial terms of this agreement to be approved by Parliament will be an improvement on previous petroleum exploration and development agreements entered into by government.
Well, President John Mahama has directed the Ministers of Energy and Petroleum and Energy to thoroughly map out all the country's natural resources. Announcing this at the Flagstaff House today, Deputy Information and Media Relations Minister Murtala Mohammed said this will give Ghana an upper hand in future negotiations involving its natural resources.
This new directive, according to the Deputy Minister, is to help track all possible areas in the country where mineral resources from gold and oil to iron ore and bauxite can be found.
There have been concerns expressed by people about the fact that 10% of what we get from the oil comes to the nation. In gold is less than even 5%. What government seeks to do now is that you get those companies to come, they do the mapping up, identify where the resources are, and even provide you with an information of the deposits so that you know. Government of Ghana will know, okay, we have oil here, we have bauxite here, we have diamond here, and this is the quantity that we have each. Now you then auction it to the highest bidder. The highest bidder here, it has to do with where the nation would get the value for money, where we stand to benefit in terms of the agreement we enter into.
The respective ministries are to open up a bid for companies with the required capacity to take up this job. He responded to questions as to why state institutions such as the Geological Survey Department are unable to carry out such exercises.
I agree with you that maybe we need to take a second look at equipping those institutions. And I believe that over the years, government have been able to do something, but it is not much. But you need to identify that, and that is why government would have no option than to look for such assistance in as much as we work towards improving the capacity of those institutions that are our own institutions.
It's a known fact. Issues about oil tweaks a lot of eyebrows here in Ghana. And that's because the oil find raised a lot of hopes, especially for residents in the areas where these resources were found. It appears we are sitting on much more wealth than we know. So if this directive is carried out comprehensively, Ghanaians get to know how much more wealth we're sitting on in terms of natural resources and where exactly they are. Kipti Andopia, Joy News, Flagstaff House.
The Ghana Statistical Service, Social Security and National Insurance Trust and the Agricultural Development Bank now have new boards of directors. At the induction ceremony, Minister of Communication Haruna Idrisu, who is currently acting finance minister, charged members of the new boards to use their rich experience and expertise to enhance good governance and national development.
The acting finance minister shared with the board members the president's expectations of them.
Managing the pension fund with a high standard of care and in accord with legislation and regulation. 2, to maintain the security of the fund, improve internal controls and ensure prudent investment of the fund. And 3, to provide leadership to pensioners.
The Social Security and National Insurance Trust Board, with its 13 members, is chaired by Professor Joshua Alabi. He pledged the newly elected board will work with all stakeholders to enhance and protect personal and national sovereignty.
Together with my team, that is members of the board, the management and staff of SNIT, we hope to bring innovation and creativity to add on to what our predecessors have already put in place. Our aim is to work with all stakeholders to enhance and protect personal and national sovereignty in this age of long social security system in Ghana.
Nana Soglo Alon IV, a legal practitioner, chairs the new 8-member ADB board.
Banking industry as a whole is facing a major challenge. ADB being the premier bank of Ghana, and our main focus is to help the agriculture industry. So the benefit of the listing will be to the benefit of the agriculture industry as a whole.
7 board members were also sworn in for the Ghana Statistical Service. Dr. Osai Boyo Kanse, formerly of the Private Enterprise Federation, chairs that board. The acting finance minister also commended members of the previous boards for their service to the 3 institutions.
That'll be all by way of business news.
Joy News Business was brought to you in association.
Sports is brought to you in association with...
Time for the very latest in the world of sports. Ghana tasted a second straight defeat at the hands of Korea in the ongoing Hockey Junior Women's World Cup yesterday. The Black Sticks, who were making their maiden appearance at the World Cup, were thrashed 9-0 by the 2-time champions, who were making their 7th appearance at the competition. Although they played a much improved game over the first, the Black Sticks gave themselves away and ended up conceding 13 penalty corners, out of which 6 were converted. This brings Ghana's total goals conceded to 19 after losing 10-0 to the Netherlands in their opening game. Ghana's next group game is against the USA, who lost 5-1 to Netherlands in the other Pool A game. The group therefore has Netherlands top with 6 points, followed by Korea and the USA, who both have 3 points. Ghana currently lie bottom of the table with no points. We can talk about the Black Stars now. In Ghana's planned friendly match against Iran next month has been cancelled by the Asians due to a lack of funds. The decision has left the Ghana FA working to find a new opponent for the next month's FIFA International free date. The Black Stars were scheduled to take on Iran in an international friendly in Portugal in mid-August, but the Asians pulled the plug on the match in the last minute, claiming their FA was unable to fund the match. Iran planned to hold a training camp in Lisbon, Portugal, and take on Black Stars during the camp, but surprised the Ghanaians by pulling out. That'll be all for sports. My name is George Adi Jr. Do you have a good night?
Sports was brought to you in association with...
Threatened organizers of the Ghana Music Awards to take them on if they don't put a stop to the event. And one of Tanzania's representatives of the ongoing Big Brother, the Chase, Nando, has been disqualified from the game after engaging in a brawl with Ghanaian representative Eliken. Labio, Labio Showbiz. Right, that's it for the bulletin. Before we go, the quick run through our top stories. The police administration has outlawed a new unit to control rioting and public disorder and affirmed its readiness to deal with any disturbances in the aftermath of the Supreme Court ruling on the election petition. Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit awaits report on the mental state of some parents who kept their 3 children at home for years until their rescue last Friday. Minority NPP MPs in Parliament have sharply criticized